55.
Is it Lila Kelly?
I don't know.
Layla Kelly?
Okay. Oh, Leela.
Leela? Is that what it is? All right. Good morning, Valley Center. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I'm here to announce the Hornets of the Week. So when you hear your name called, please head down to the front where Mrs. Burdette is waiting for you to take your picture. All right. So for Mrs. Blackwell's class, we have Barrett Shields. Bukta's class, Lila Kelly and Owen Finch. Chavez's class, Lila Lechner. And if I say your name wrong, I am so sorry. I have been practicing these, but I know I still may not get them all correct. Mrs. Corcoran's class, Isaac Pike. Mrs. Duran's class, Wesley Sigel. Mrs. Hickman's class, Maddox Caw. Mrs. Jones' class, Sophia Winger. Mrs. Main's class, Toby Monroe. Mr. Martin's class, Raylan McGaw. McDonald's class, Emmeline Ragel. Mrs. McGregor's class, Izzy Pearson. Mrs. Miller's class, Caleb Reamer. Mrs. Millicent's class, Levi Loganville. Remington's class, Avery Dewey. Mrs. Schul's class, Bella Van Bieber. Mrs. Springs' class, Briggs Davison. Mrs. Stockwell's class, Annalise Lopez Amador. Mrs. Wolf's class, Creed Harrison. Mrs. Yost's class, Hunter Collins. Mrs. Zimmerman's class, Mason Winger. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'm going to hand it over to our broadcasting crew for today. Remember to be the change.
Good morning, staff and students. Today is Monday, October 17th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy birthday yesterday to Kalia Dixon. Happy
Happy
birthday! And Dalton Hager. Happy
birthday, Dalton!
Today, happy birthday today to Noxton Connors.
Happy birthday!
And Carson Heck.
Happy birthday!
Lunch is tater tot casserole, steamed peas and carrots, breadstick, tropical fruit, and milk.
Next student council meeting will be on Thursday at 7:55. Don't forget to meet in front of the front doors.
Next week is Spirit Week. We're going to be celebrating Red Ribbon Week. What's your favorite day next week?
It's either Neon Day or PJ Day.
Other than Costume Day, probably Crazy Hair Day.
Have signs around the school.